This is my 2017 6th generation Camaro SS 1LE. In my last video, we covered all of the things that I've loved about owning this car over the year and a half of my ownership. I've daily driven the car for about a year of that period. I've put a lot of miles on it. I've had a lot of time on the wheel of this car. I've experienced it in many different places. And that said, I've gotten to notice some things I like about the car, some things I don't like about this car. And contrary to the last video, this video will be focusing on things that I do not like about owning an SS 1LE and some of the drawbacks to this car and platform if you're looking at purchasing one or are just interested in the vehicle. So starting off, I think one of the worst things about owning an SS 1LE is the cost of the tires and the brakes. Now, this is advertised as a track car and it is phenomenal at doing that, but it is extremely expensive from a consumable standpoint to run a car like this. I currently have it on the Michelin Pilot Sport 4S. It's a very good road tire, very good in wet weather. Has a ton of grip and allows the car to properly hook up and go in both first and second gear without much wheel spin. So very good fit for the car. It's not what comes with it from factory. Those are the Goodyear Supercar Eagle F1s. A little bit of a cheaper tire, but a set of these on this car costed about $2,300. For the Goodyears, I think it's a little bit cheaper, more in the $1,700 range, but still very expensive for a set of tires. Actually though, my bigger pet peeve is the cost of the brakes. So you get 6-piston Brembos in the front and 4 pistons in the rear on the 1LE, and these brakes are rather large. That said, they are extremely expensive. It is about, I think, in the vicinity of, I want to say just shy of $3 grand for a set of pads and rotors all around on these cars. Which is absolutely ridiculous. Between, I think the pads are about $800 for all 4 corners. I think to get front and rear, it's about $800 for the stock Ferroto pads. And the rotors are what really eat you. They're about $2 grand for a set of 4 if you go with OEM rotors. And the unfortunate thing is there's not really a lot of aftermarket rotor options on these cars actually because of the unique size. They're ever so slightly smaller than the factory ZL1 rotors, so you cannot put ZL1 rotors on these directly, and they are larger than the non-1LE SS rotors, so they are unique to this car, and as a result, I haven't really found any aftermarket solutions, so you're forced to go OEM and fork over the $2,000. My next big complaint with the SS 1LE is the ride quality on poor roads. As you can see, I'm driving through kind of a construction site right now. These roads are cut up by construction. They're not great quality. They haven't really been freshly paved or anything. And if I go over some bumps like you see right here, I don't know how visible it is on the camera, but the car takes these really roughly, especially big bumps like right up here. You can see I'm getting bumped around now. Anything that's like a big position change like that, the suspension really has a hard time dealing with. Now, when it comes to small bumps in the road, like just typical road noise, you know, small little undulations and whatnot, when you throw the car's suspension in tour mode where the dampers go to full soft, the car actually deals with it relatively well because you're able to adjust the damping with that magnetic ride system. Anything that's small usually results in a change in velocity to the suspension, and that's very well handled by the dampers. That's actually their main purpose, is to resist changes in linear velocity. Now, when it comes to big step changes, like large bumps in the road, potholes, things of that nature, that's more your spring that actually deals with that, because the spring is resisting a change in position. So if you get a big up or down change in position, that's responsible for your spring. Now, the thing is, the 1LE package with the FE4 suspension has very stiff spring rates. We can turn the dampers down using the car's electrical system, but we can't change spring rates. Obviously, it's a spring. You're not going to be able to do anything about that. So the result of that is that large bumps, the car handles very poorly. Now, those stiff springs are the same thing that make the car's suspension so capable when it comes to cornering and handling on track. So there is a benefit to be had there, and there's obviously a reason that they are the way that they are. But when it comes to daily driving the car and just trying to casually take it places, the ride quality is rather rough, and you'll find on a poor road it can really, really beat on you. Another complaint that I have with this car after owning it for a few years is that it really rewards fast and aggressive driving, and not in a good way. That can be be said of many sports cars, but I think the SS1LE in particular really eggs you on to drive aggressively because it really does reward it. When you have an exhaust note as good as this car has, and things like auto rev matching, to sit there and knock out a couple downshifts and send it to redline is rewarding because it sounds fantastic, it's fun. And I think the same can be said of the suspension. When you're just cruising along on a relatively straight, mundane road, nothing's really happening other than you're kind of just getting knocked around by a very stiff suspension, and it's not a great time. You know, you're just kind of getting beat up, and you're not really getting much in return for it. That said, when you then start throwing the car through corners aggressively, the suspension really comes to life. You feel it grip up, and it's exciting. And because of that, it encourages that kind of driving. And funny enough, I own 3 cars currently, and this is the only one that I've ever gotten a speeding ticket in, and I have 2 in this car. And I don't think that that's necessarily a coincidence. Part of it is the car is red, it's visually loud, and I'm sure that attracts more negative attention from law enforcement. No denying that. But for example, one of the other cars I own is a BMW E90. It's an automatic, just very comfortable car, very relaxing daily driver. It's easy to just cruise in that car, to relax and just, you know, I'll get there when I get there and chill out. In this car, you know, between the manual transmission, the rev matching, you know, how fun it is when you start to push it, it's really tempting to drive it that way, and it requires a lot more discipline and restraint when driving this car. Maybe a bit of a controversial take on this one, but I also really do not care for the Alcantara wheel and the Alcantara shifter. I do not like that these interior components end up being a maintenance item, in that you have to consistently clean them. You have to be very careful about washing your hands and not getting hand oils on them. Otherwise, they will deteriorate rather poorly over time. I don't know if it was the previous owner or myself, but the shift knob on this car has seen better days as a result of some of the hand oils and cleaning wear that it has seen. I just don't like the fact that I always feel like I have to be careful about like interacting with the touch points. Like I feel like if I'm touching it too much, or if I didn't wash my hands right before I got in the car, it's an issue. I think I just overall prefer leather. It's more of an annoyance than it's worth, in my opinion. I don't think there's a huge advantage to having the Alcantara. I mean, it looks cool, it feels nice, but I don't know that it's worth the hassle. Another huge complaint with the SS1LE, and this is really a 6th gen Camaro problem in particular, is the size of the trunk opening. The trunk itself is actually very spacious, and when you fold those rear seats down, it opens up in there. You actually have plenty of space. You can get a lot of stuff in there. I fit golf clubs in there, large items. Like, you're never gonna have a problem with the amount of trunk space this car has, but the opening is very small and awkward. And I understand there's constraints around how they, you know, design the rest of this car, where they can't get much more opening than this. But I can't tell you how many objects I haven't been able to fit in the trunk as a result of the opening rather than the actual amount of space in the trunk. For a daily driver and having to live with moving things around, this is a major pain point on this car, in my opinion. But if it's a secondary vehicle, it's really a non-issue. So that's gonna wrap up the worst things about owning a Camaro SS1LE. There's a lot of great things to say about this car. I think there's far more positive attributes than there are negative ones, but there are a couple drawbacks when it comes to daily driving a vehicle like this and some of the other things around the 6th gen platform. And I hope this video was useful in letting you know what some of those might be. That said, the SS1LE is a fantastic car. This has been my favorite car I have ever owned. And outside of the couple things I mentioned in this video, I've really had no complaints or problems with it at all. So that said, I hope you found this useful. Thank you for watching and have a great day.